Happy Gilmore wasn't just a comedy. It was a wrecking ball disguised as a golf movie. The fight scene was supposed to star someone else entirely. The villain turned down the role twice. And hidden inside one shot, for less than 2 seconds, is a hockey jersey that connects the whole film to Adam Sandler's real life. These are 20 weird facts about Happy Gilmore. And the bonus? It is the most wholesome fact about Happy Gilmore to exist. Tee it up. This one goes sideways fast. Number 20. Before the hockey slap shots and broken golf clubs, there was just a kid from New Hampshire named Adam Sandler, writing jokes with his college roommate in a cramped dorm at New York University. That roommate was Tim Herlihy. The two of them had been writing stand-up material together for years. After Sandler got fired from Saturday Night Live in 1995, they needed a hit. Billy Madison had done well, but it wasn't enough to build a career on. So during a brainstorming session in an office, they landed on a high-concept idea: a hockey player who could smack a 400-yard drive. It was ridiculous, it was loud, and it came from something real. Sandler had a childhood friend named Kyle McDonough, a hockey player who used to golf with him growing up. McDonough could drive the ball further than anyone Sandler had ever seen. And Sandler figured it was those hockey wrists, that explosive snap, that gave him the edge. So he turned his friend into a character, gave him a temper, gave him a grandmother worth fighting for, and gave him a sport that didn't want him. What looked like a silly sports movie was built on a real friendship, a real firing, and the desperate need to prove that Adam Sandler wasn't a one-hit wonder. And somehow, it worked. Number 19. The role of Shooter McGavin almost went to a completely different kind of star. Kevin Costner was the first choice, but he turned it down to make his own golf movie that same year, Tin Cup. Then Bruce Campbell, the cult horror icon, lobbied hard for the part. He wanted it badly, but the studio went in a different direction. They offered it to Christopher McDonald, and he said no, twice. He was tired of playing villains. He wanted to spend more time with his family. He wanted nothing to do with another bad guy. But then McDonald won a round of golf in real life. Something clicked. He met with Sandler, and the two hit it off instantly. Director Dennis Dugan told McDonald he didn't want to see the bad guy 101 version. He gave him total freedom to improvise on set, and McDonald ran with it. He didn't just play a villain, he built a legend, one finger gun at a time. Number 18. The Bob Barker fight scene is the most famous moment in the movie, but Bob Barker wasn't the first choice. The scene was originally written for Ed McMahon. Sandler and Herlihy imagined the legendary Tonight Show announcer getting into a brawl on a golf course. But when they reached out, McMahon's people sent back what Sandler later described as an arrogant response, saying, "Ed McMahon does not portray himself in motion pictures." So they started throwing out other names, and someone said, "What about Bob Barker?" Everyone in the room said yes immediately. Bob Barker wasn't sure if he wanted to be in the movie at all. When he learned that he was going to win the fight with Adam Sandler, he accepted the role. When director Dugan told him a stunt double would be used, Barker insisted on doing his own stunts, saying, "Wait a minute, I know how to fight." Barker had been trained in martial arts by his neighbor Chuck Norris, earned a black belt in karate and a red belt in Tang Soo Do. So, at 72 years old, Bob Barker walked onto a Canadian golf course and threw real punches at Adam Sandler's face. They shot the whole fight in one day. The club that flew out of Sandler's hand? That wasn't scripted. The club was wet from the rain. When Barker knocked Sandler into the water, it was freezing cold. But Sandler said, "Forget it, throw me in." They rolled down a hill over and over again until Dugan had enough footage to make it look like they tumbled 200 yards. And the final line,
"The price is wrong, bitch."
That was a last-minute addition from Sandler's producing partner, Jack Giaraputo. Barker delivered it without flinching, because the Price is Right host didn't come to play. He came to fight. Number 17. Carl Weathers losing his hand to an alligator wasn't random. It was a deliberate inside joke. In Predator, Weathers played Dylan, a CIA operative whose arm gets blown off by the alien's plasma cannon. Same actor, same right arm. In Happy Gilmore, Chubbs Peterson loses his right hand to an alligator on a golf course. Sandler and Herlihy wrote it specifically as a callback for action movie fans. Watch both films back to back. The parallel is impossible to miss. One arm taken by an alien in a jungle, the other taken by a gator on a fairway. Carl Weathers was apparently born to lose that limb. Next time you watch Happy Gilmore, pay attention to which hand Chubbs is missing. Then go watch Predator. Same arm, same man, different monster. and the writers did it on purpose. Number 16. The entire movie was filmed in Vancouver, British Columbia. Not a single frame was shot in the United States. The golf courses, the streets, the grandmother's house, all of it was Canada standing in for America. Most of the golf scenes were filmed at the Swanisette Bay Resort and Country Club in Pitt Meadows. The nursing home? That was Riverview Hospital in Coquitlam, an abandoned psychiatric facility that looks as eerie in person as it does on screen. And the broadcast booth scenes with Verne Lundquist? Those were shot inside the abandoned hospital too. Number 15. Happy Gilmore was produced on a budget of $12 million and filmed entirely at locations in British Columbia. Most scenes taking place at golf courses were filmed at Pitt Meadows at the Swanisette Bay Resort and Country Club, while interior shots, such as those in the broadcast booth, took place in an abandoned Vancouver hospital. According to Verne Lundquist, he filmed his scenes in the abandoned hospital as production wrapped. The polished ESPN-style broadcast set that gives the film its sense of professional legitimacy was built inside an empty medical building that had been decommissioned and left standing. Number 14. Verne Lundquist, the real CBS Sports broadcaster who played the golf announcer, still received a monthly residual check from the Screen Actors Guild for his appearance. In 2016, he confirmed the check was $34 a month, every single month, for over 20 years. And there's another detail you probably missed. Sandler's New York University roommate, Jack Giraputo, sits next to Lundquist in every single broadcast booth shot, not as a credited actor, just as a friend who Sandler wanted on screen. Giraputo wasn't even a SAG member. He had to stay silent on camera because he couldn't legally deliver a line. And because Giraputo wasn't a SAG member, he misses out on that $34 a month. Number 13. During the climax, when the broadcast tower collapses on the 18th hole, watch the last person climbing the tower. He's wearing a number 24 Boston Bruins jersey. That's the number of Terry O'Reilly, one of the most famously aggressive players in Bruins history. A brawler, a fighter, a man who solved problems with his fists. Sound like anyone? It's a deliberate nod to Sandler's lifelong obsession with the Bruins, the same team whose jersey Happy wears throughout the film. It's on screen for less than 2 seconds. Most people have never noticed it, but once you see it, you realize Sandler hid his favorite hockey player inside his golf movie. And that's the most Happy Gilmore thing imaginable. Number 12. The Happy Gilmore swing is technically legal. Years after the film came out, Irish pro golfer Padraig Harrington tried Happy's running slapshot swing during a demonstration. The PGA confirmed that the rules don't require a player to stand still over the ball. A run-up approach is allowed. But when a Canadian golfer tried it at a bachelor party, things went wrong. He hit someone with the ball. The injured person sued. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia, which ruled that the running swing breaches a duty of care on the golf course. So Happy's swing is legal, but you might get sued for trying it. Number 11. Carl Weathers was seriously injured during filming, and he didn't tell anyone. The scene where Chubbs falls out of the window after being startled by the alligator head was played for laughs. But the stunt left Weathers in real pain. He fractured 2 vertebrae. Bone spurs grew out from the fractures and fused in the wrong position. He later described it in an interview, saying he was in excruciating pain for 3 or 4 years afterward. But he never said a word on set. He kept it quiet because, as he put it, "I'm tough, man." It took years of doctor visits and multiple surgical consultations before he finally got treatment. Behind one of the funniest death scenes in comedy history was real, lasting damage. And the man who played Apollo Creed and Dylan from Predator never flinched. Pretty wild so far, right? If you're enjoying this ride, go ahead and like or subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because trust me, it only gets better here. Number 10. Happy Gilmore opened at number 2 at the US box office, behind Broken Arrow, pulling in $8.5 million on its debut weekend. On a $12 million budget, it went on to earn over $41 million worldwide. Critics weren't kind. Metacritic gave it a 31 out of 100, but audiences gave it a B+ on CinemaScore, and the disconnect between critics and fans became one of the defining patterns of Sandler's entire career. The people who went to the theater loved it. The people who reviewed it for a living didn't know what to do with it. Number 9. The film's cult status in the golf world is real and measurable. Golf Digest, Consequence of Sound, and Golf.com have all published retrospectives praising the film. Christopher McDonald has said the Shooter McGavin role follows him everywhere, that fans approach him quoting lines decades later. And the Happy Gilmore swing itself became a real phenomenon. Golfers attempted at driving ranges around the world. Some courses have even banned it. A comedy about a guy who doesn't belong on a golf course somehow became one of the most beloved golf movies ever made. Number 8. The final scene of the movie includes one of the strangest hidden details in any 1990s comedy. After Happy wins the tour championship, he looks up and sees the spirits of Chubbs and the alligator waving to him from heaven. Standing right next to them, also waving, is Abraham Lincoln. Charles L. Brame played Lincoln in an uncredited cameo, but here is the point. There's no setup, no explanation, no reason for the 16th president of the United States to be chilling in the afterlife with a one-handed golfer and a dead reptile. Sandler and Herlihy never explained it. They didn't need to. It's the kind of detail that only works because nobody tries to justify it. And 30 years later, it's still one of the most unexplainable sight gags in comedy history. Next time you watch, don't turn off the movie early. Wait for the final shot. Lincoln is there, waving, and nobody knows why. Number 7. After Chubbs dies and appears in heaven at the end of Happy Gilmore, most people assumed that was the last they'd see of him. It wasn't. Chubbs showed up again in Little Nicky in 2000, still hanging out with the angels, still missing his hand, still played by Carl Weathers. It was one of the first times Sandler connected his films into a shared universe, the same character in the same afterlife across 2 different movies. He appeared again as a spiritual guide in Happy Gilmore 2 in 2025, making him one of the only characters to span 3 Sandler films across 3 decades. Sandler didn't just build a comedy, he built a cosmology, and Chubbs was the thread holding it together. Number 6. Mr. Larson is one of the most memorable background presences in the film. He stands still, he leans on things, he barely moves. That was not a creative choice. In 1992, Richard Kiel was in a serious car accident that left him unable to balance unassisted. Whenever Mr. Larson is on screen, he either stands still or leans on something. In some shots, it's a fence. In others, it's another actor taking his weight. The stillness that makes the character feel powerful was built by a crew working around an injury that nobody advertised, because Kiel didn't want it to be the reason he didn't work. Number 5. Every golfer in the film is chasing the gold jacket. Shooter has wanted it for years. It is the single object that defines his ambition and his failure. The gold jacket is clearly a play on the iconic green jacket of the Masters, given to the winner of the Tour Championship. In fact, early drafts of the script featured Happy winning the Masters tournament itself with the real green jacket. Consultant Mark Lai warned the crew they were desecrating the USGA and suggested a fictional tournament. Herlihy and Sandler changed the jacket's color from green to gold. The film takes that mythology and repaints it gold, then gives it to a man in a hockey jersey who learned to putt 3 weeks ago. Number 4. When Chubbs reveals that an alligator bit off his hand, it is played as a backstory detail, a strange and specific misfortune that explains why a man with this much talent is not on the tour. It is also a direct inside joke built into the character's physical reality. Chubbs Peterson's missing hand is an inside joke referencing actor Carl Weathers' film Predator, 1987, which depicts his character Dylan losing his arm in that Arnold Schwarzenegger action classic. The writers didn't just cast Weathers, they wrote his most famous physical injury into the backstory of his new character. And it goes one layer deeper. Happy asks why a guy his size isn't playing a real sport like football, joking on the fact that Carl Weathers was a real professional football player. Number 3. In the opening sequence, Happy fails yet another hockey tryout. The players skating around him, dismissing him, are meant to represent the professional level he cannot reach. During the first hockey tryout sequence, Sakic can be spotted among the players on the ice. The film was shot in Vancouver, and multiple NHL players from the area participated. Sakic was one of the most gifted centers in NHL history, a Hall of Famer who would go on to win the Stanley Cup just months after Happy Gilmore was released in 1996. Appears uncredited as a player at the tryout where Happy fails. The man representing professional hockey excellence that Happy can never reach was literally one of the greatest players of his generation. Number 2. For all the chaos, the screaming, the punches, and the product placement, Happy Gilmore was built on one quiet thing: a friendship. Adam Sandler and Tim Herlihy had been writing together since college. They'd been fired together, they'd failed together, but when writing for Happy Gilmore, they mostly laughed together. Herlihy later said they included any joke that made both of them laugh, and that neither of them could remember who came up with which line. It didn't matter. The movie wasn't about credit. It was about two guys who'd been in the trenches together, throwing everything at the wall. But it started in that dorm room. Two friends, one dream, and just a whole bunch of laughing together. Number 1. In the final scene, as Happy stands outside his grandmother's house, having won everything the film promised he would win, he looks up and sees Chubbs waving from the clouds. But watch what Chubbs is waving with. It is the hand the alligator once took. The writers thought about which hand Chubbs waves with in heaven. In death, he has both of them. But in the final frame, confirming he is whole now, he uses the specific hand that the world took from him, the one he spent the entire film teaching golf without. He got it back. It's a small detail. Nobody announces it. Nobody points at it. But it is there for the people who watched the whole thing and paid attention to the little things. And last but not least, the bonus. This is Adam Sandler's favorite role and movie of his own. Not Uncut Gems, not Punch Drunk Love, not The Wedding Singer. The one made for $12 million in British Columbia with an abandoned hospital for a broadcast set, a 70-year-old karate black belt as the final boss, and a director hired in a hallway before he reached the first room. The film that critics mostly dismissed has generated nearly 3 decades of love from every direction. Golf culture adopted it. Hockey culture recognized it. A real Supreme Court cited the mechanics of the swing in a civil ruling. The Happy Gilmore swing is often imitated or attempted for fun, including by touring golf professionals. The film that the sport was supposed to mock has been absorbed by the sport it mocked. The swing that proved Happy didn't understand golf is now something real professional golfers practice in training. And the man who wrote it because he couldn't hit the ball as far as his childhood friend, he just had so much fun writing and acting in it, which is just the best and most important fact. Happy Gilmore didn't play by the rules. It just picked up a hockey stick and dared the sport to stop it. If this one still lives rent-free in your head, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what moment from Happy Gilmore still makes you rewind? Because sometimes the price is wrong. And that's exactly right.
The price is wrong, bitch.